There we go. Welcome to Modern Mystic Messages. I'm Teresa. I want to thank you for joining me here on the live stream. Welcome to Wednesday. Isn't it Wednesday? No, Sunday. Oh my goodness. See, look at me. Oh my goodness. Welcome to Sunday. Happy Sunday to you for those that are able to join. And I'll give it just a few moments here for some folks to get in here. Who we got? Oh, Niana, welcome, welcome. I'm doing pretty good, other than not knowing what day it is. How are you doing? Hey, Julie, welcome in and welcome back. So good to have you all here today. Oh, y'all, it ain't even springtime. My eyes still bother me. Look at there. hmm And thank you, Niana. Yeah, I don't get to do the royal blue too often, but I like it too. Hey, Paul Snowcloud, welcome in. I haven't gotten to your emails yet. I was on the one, well, you can't see it now, I don't think, but I actually attached, well, in the description, I put a link for a video. I sent it in the WhatsApp group though. Those two videos there, that kind of had me in my headspace today. Don't be laughing at me, Niana. You know I don't have it together. I guess you got to laugh at me because it did be kind of ridiculous. I thought it was Wednesday, and here we are on Sunday. Pitiful. Oh, y'all, one of the things I am so. Remember, I was mentioning the other day how when things just kind of connect and connect and connect, and you're not quite sure how it's all lining up. But I got a very interesting text message yesterday, and then another one today. The daughter that I was telling you about that was has been kind of estranged in the past. She asked me to create a cookbook. I think I may have mentioned that. Yeah, it is. And honestly, I kind of sort of knew that. I don't know what happened. I just had a brain blip all of a sudden when I turned on the live stream and decided it felt like Wednesday all of a sudden. I've known it was Sunday all day today. Oh, yeah, you did say tomorrow is Indigenous Peoples Day. Yay. Hey, Alice, it's Sunday. That's before I got everybody all confused. But yeah, my daughter that I've been estranged from, actually today she texted me asking, or it was last night, I didn't see it till this morning, but asking me if I would be willing to come visit her or allow her to come visit me, one way or the other. She was like, I'll send for you. I just want to, I really want to see you. I've not laid eyes on that child in 5 years. So that was huge for me. I've talked to her since then, but it was just really, really big that you went back to Columbia Day. Oh, for the goddess instead of Columbus. Well, that's apropos. Hey, Miss Cece, welcome, welcome. Yep. But that part really kind of, like you said, when things start popping off for you, and you have to have appreciation for all the little stuff. It ain't just the huge manifestations that you show appreciation for. You appreciate everything, and then it kind of paves the way. The more you can appreciate and allow, it more allows more in. So I was just grateful. I have been willing or putting into the vortex, if you will, a reconciliation with that child for the last 7 years or more. So I'm very happy to see, which again, like I said, we speak a few times a year, but this is like she's really serious about wanting to see me now, and that's progress. I could not have achieved that progress if I had just been pushing at her, trying to make her see it. I just had to back off of it and leave it alone. Hey, God Moves Ministry, welcome in, welcome in. And Claire Sigmon, oh, Sigma Anime, Claire, welcome. Welcome to you. But y'all, I wanted to talk a little bit. And again, you can't necessarily, if you look in the description for this video, you may see the link, but I don't know if it'll show up as a hot link. I will attach it to the link after I'm able to upload it to the channel after the live stream closes. But there are a couple videos on Anunnaki Ancient Mystery. Yeah, on Anunnaki Ancient Mystery that are chef's kiss. I mean, one of them was done very recently. I think it was yesterday. And the title of the video is It Was Never God, It Was Them All Along. And the other video was done a few days before that, or may have even been a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure. But it was called Why the Vatican Truly Feared the Anunnaki. Hey, Exgesia. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Beautiful soul. But yeah, y'all, if you get an opportunity to go to that channel, I think that brother is out of either Austria or Germany, but he's been faithfully at it for a long time. Some of the folks that come up in the live stream think that I am just making this up, and I see we got 15 right now that are tuning in. So even if you're not interested enough in what I'm saying to stick around and watch the whole live stream, I am asking you, please, please, please go to Anunnaki Ancient Mystery and watch the latest 2 or 3 videos that have been uploaded there. It is an eye opener, regardless of what your belief system is, regardless of how you feel about religion or what have you. He has outlined the history in a way that's very concise, all things considering how much time he's covered. But the one, the first one, It Was Never God, It Was Them All Along. It talks about the um, the history basically of them discovering the translation key that allowed them to start translating some of these documents. We hear about, we get the story about how this is the sacred text, or the Talmud is the sacred text, or the Quran is the sacred text. But it talks about in history how they found so many of those other things: the Library of Ashurbanipal, the library at Nineveh, the Nag Hammadi library, and all of those texts. And then they found in the rock face, I think they said it was 1926 or 7 or so, they found a translation key in Sumerian. It was like a multi-language message that went out that allowed them to look at the comparisons of Anunnaki Sumerian and I forgot, Akkadian, I think, side by side so that they could understand the languages better. And then they began to understand that a lot of the tablets that they were uncovering, that those little dots and stuff that they were finding were actually language, and they were able to translate a lot of that. Oh, you did, Cynthia? I appreciate you, brother. That was nice. Chapardaria, Dabaria, welcome. Personal NA, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. And I seriously doubt that anyway, but that's completely irrelevant to what we're discussing here. We don't, I'm not, I mean, no disrespect to Marilyn and what she had going on, but considering her position between 2 brothers that had access to the White House, it's highly unlikely she was a virgin. So we're just not going to entertain that. No. Okay? Just so you understand. Welcome back in, CC. Welcome. Well, the thing is, God Moves Ministry, and again, not to offend anyone that really is programmed for Christianity, because I was programmed for it too. But how could the main text be through the Bible or the Quran or the Talmud when we have carbon dating records on this planet proving that life has existed on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years? And none of the biblical texts, Judaism was established in 500 BC, 2,500 years ago. Christianity was established in 325 AD, 1,700 years ago. And Islam was established in 600 AD, 1,400 years ago. So how could any of those very, very new texts be our main texts? You know? No disrespect, but that's literally like somebody saying that a toddler that was born 3 years ago could give us all the secrets of the universe and all the information and completely ignore a Rhodes Scholar and want to listen to what the toddler got to say. It Humans are so arrogant in our ignorance that it's kind of scary. Hey, you unique soul care provider, welcome. You know, that's the part that gets me. The religious zealots are so blissfully ignorant in their naivety and their arrogance that they're willing to accept the lies that the Yahwists have laid down. And I'm going to call all of them Yahwists because whether they worship Allah El or Yahweh or Jehovah, it's all ties back to the same demiurge, dragon, liar, you know, not friend to humankind. Johnny Blade, I'm not entertaining you today. I'm glad I don't. You know what? You should take a page from your own counsel. You keep showing up, so obviously for always for a reason, and I keep ignoring you. So I'm acknowledging that you're here, but unless or until you come up with something lending to the conversation, I'm not even going to address your idiotic questions. Okay? Why? Because number one, there wasn't no main black character on the Facts of Life, and Charlotte Ray been dead for probably 20 years. Get a grip, people. Everybody on the Facts of Life show is long dead. Just about, I believe, except nope, I think they're all gone at this point. Tootie, she's still around. Oh, you talking about am I her? Actually, my nickname is Tootie, but that's about as far as it goes. We're of the same age group, but no, I wish I was her and had a. Well, I don't wish I was her. I wish I had a money. Hey, Robin, how are you? Welcome in. But yeah, I ain't got. I'm not Kim Fields, but my nickname from birth is Tootie. I had it before she did. What was the title of the Anunnaki? I'm not a fortune teller, J. Paul Abara, so I have no idea. You have to go to a fortune teller for that. I'm not here discussing nobody's fortune. We're here discussing ancient history, how the Anunnaki figured into things, how the biblical texts figure into it, and how the Anunnaki, Sumerian, and Babylonian texts offer further, richer context to the biblical text. They don't negate the biblical text, they just give you further clarity on the biblical text. Yeah, see, I know. That's why I say I can't. I'm not even angry at these people. They just the channel that those videos are on. Yes, it's called Anunnaki Ancient Mystery, and like I said, once this actually uploads, I will put links for both of those videos. The first one was discussing the translation key and kind of giving an overall view of the history of the Anunnaki, not really getting into the Nibiru and the time before, but what happened after they got here. But that second one, it's a little bit longer and it talks about basically the history of the world around the time of the establishment of Christianity forward. Talks about Constantine and what was going on in the empire and how all of that kind of went down and all the way down into from there all the way through. It starts there and then it kind of goes back into what led up to it, and then it talks about the church's role like all the way up into like the 1200s, 1300s, 1400s, and then it kind of goes back and does an overview of what that Yeshua energy, whether you believe he was a literal person or not. Well, and I understand it does it in such a way as to be able to appeal to a wider audience because the powers that are, the religious systems of the world don't really want to acknowledge their roles in some things. So, but it's just a very very beautiful summation, if you will, of like the history of Christianity and whatnot as it was playing out in the world. Hey, environment. I hope you're doing well on this Sunday or Monday. I guess it's in your neck of the woods. Yeah. You said you watched the second one, Anunnaki versus the Vatican. Oh, you have watched it. Wasn't it really good, Paul? Yeah. There are so many videos that I gotta find more time because I be wanting to watch them and then discuss them with y'all, and eventually I will get around to doing some kind of a commentary on them. Although those were so comprehensive, there really wasn't a lot for me to add to them. I haven't been on my lunch break yet recently, but I think there's probably something coming up there. I think Paul Wallace had something on the fifth kind, but it could wait. Like I said, that was the one that really got my attention for today was Anunnaki Ancient Mystery, and of course, there's Ancient Astronaut Archive uploaded the Book of Jasher. Like, man, but I think that's about 5 or 6 hours worth of listening, so I'm gonna really have to just probably take a day and just listen to that while I'm working around the house or whatever. You watch videos all day? I get stuck in my head from some of them, and I do watch some, and then I get into some that aren't as educational. Sometimes it'd be just for my entertainment, but yeah, I think a lot of us do, especially those who are kind of in between employment situations right now. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie and say everything that I did was of a spiritual nature. I was on some entertainment stuff, a little bit on the messy side. Yeah, I will watch them. I didn't today because between me being on the phone and like I said, I was sitting there thinking about my daughter and stuff, and then I did have to do a little bit of cooking, and yeah, yeah, they do. Those two videos really go hand in hand. Now, the one in the middle about would you survive a day with the Nephilim, I started watching that because it just queued up automatically and started playing after I got done with those. Um, that's a little more interesting, but to me, I mean, that's kind of for those who have an issue accepting the reality of the Nephilim. I don't have a problem accepting that, so I don't, it's not something that I need to give a whole lot of thought to. I should hold meditation sessions on my channel to teach grounding for opening up the spirit. I may actually do that. Yeah, 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 yeah. I had somebody a long time ago before I had even got. It was a young guy that had messaged me on Instagram, and I felt so bad because I let him down because he wanted me to teach him how to meditate, and I was just so camera shy and all that. I drug feet on it and lost touch with him, but I've thought about even doing a little bit of kind of a shorter guided meditations or stuff around the full moon or the new moon ceremonies. I've got a tongue drum in here that I need to learn how to play, and then I wouldn't even have to worry about necessarily music tracks for them. I could just play the tongue drum for them. I don't know. I wanted a hung drum, but yeah, hung drums are really expensive. The original hung drum, I think, runs about $2,500, but even if you get a knockoff version, they're about 600 or 700. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Say what now? Oh, you can't stand listening to a woman talk. Honestly, both of y'all sound like I used to be. It was probably because you're more tapped into people's energy. I'm telling you, I used to not like women. I mean, in theory, I like everybody, but my attitude about women back in the day when I was dealing with all of them the raggedy females that was in and around the energy bandwidth that I was kind of plunked into this life in and chose through my raggedy trajectory when I was extracted out of the cult into the matrix, them chicks. I used to say I didn't like women because they was raggedy evil bitches. That was my attitude. I did not like women because they was raggedy evil bitches. That's what I used to think. Now I don't feel that way anymore. I love connected, divine, feminine females, and I don't have any connections with raggedy females like that anymore. I see they're still out there in full effect every time I turn on YouTube and get into one of them like Pop the Balloon or Real Housewives or Fresh and Fit or anything like that. They're everywhere, but they're not part of my world anymore. So now I'm connected with beautiful sisters that are more in their balanced energy, and I absolutely love females now, but I wasn't always that way either. Good afternoon, Oliver. Welcome, welcome. Oh, yeah. I thought it was environment. No, it's you that's in New Zealand. Yeah, welcome. Hey, King David. You on 105 Monday afternoon. Love it. Yep. When I was friends with that gentleman in New Zealand, it was always hard for me to figure out the time difference because it was a lot, a lot, a lot. I'm like, good Lord. I think so too. As we like I say, as we awaken, we will see a greater range of light and magnetic frequencies. Yes, I really do. I think we're going to start seeing people more with our spiritual eyes. In the U.S., Oliver, there. Let me see: Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific. There are four time zones in the US, and then right on the edges, like we deal with a lot. I mean, in North America, there's Canada, so we also have like the just beyond, I think a part of Alaska still is in like a fifth little sliver of a time zone. And then on the eastern coast, part of New Brunswick brings in a six times, but those are officially Canadian time zones, not US. But US, continental US has four time zones. But yeah, environment. I noticed a few years ago, and I found out completely by accident. There was a young lady, shall we say, in my experience, that for all intents and purposes, other people would look at her and say that she was attractive. And when I saw her, first thing I thought was, "Oh my goodness, she's yeah." And I felt bad for thinking that the little girl was ugly, you know what I mean? But I wasn't seeing her physical appearance. I was seeing her soul, and I didn't even realize it. Because she got the hair and the caterpillar eyelashes and the spandex and the flickety flickety and the, night tight little body and the Balenciaga and all the designer everything and all dolled up that according to the world's standards, she would be very attractive, and I just could not see it. No, no, no. Hey, Shawanda Sheree, was she attractive as Kelly? Who? Kelly Rowland? Oh, heck no, 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 no. That's why I say she wasn't attractive at all to me because I saw her nasty little attitude. Even when I was trying to like her, I was trying to like her based on what I thought her potential could be. But the longer I dealt with her, oh, her attitude absolutely matched my first impression of her. She was a nasty somebody and still is. How do you cleanse your crystals, God Moves Ministry? There's a couple of ways. The easiest way to start programming your crystals, if you really feel a need to cleanse, I mean, if you need to physically clean dirt off of them, of course, rinse them in some warm water or cool water, whatever, not hot. You don't want to, some crystals are temperature sensitive and some crystals don't need to be wet at all. But if you got a crystal that can allow water, you can rinse them off, dry them off, and then once they're fully dry, immerse them in salt. Bury them in salt, minimum 24 hours. But truthfully, if you're trying to cleanse a crystal, I would encourage you to bury it in salt for at least 3 days. excuse me, and then when you bring it out of the salt, if it's a crystal that can tolerate sun, then you can put it in the windowsill or outside in the sun for a few hours, or just put it in the windowsill and let it be in the sun for the sunshine hours of the day. If it's a crystal that cannot bear sunlight, look it up, look them up and see. For example, moonstone, and well, moonstone is white anyway, so it's not going to lose its color, but amethysts don't like a lot of sun. If you leave an amethyst just out in the sun, it can lose its color, you know. So you want to find out if the crystals that you're attempting to cleanse, if they are moonlight favoring stones, and you can cleanse them in the moonlight as well. And especially you want to put them out, all of them, you can put all of your crystals out in the moonlight and charge them under the full moon. Okay, whether they're sun bearing stones or not, all of them can be charged in the moonlight. Oliver, you said you didn't pay much attention to black women until you saw that music video that she did with Gabe David Guetta. Kelly Rowland is a beautiful girl. She always has been. I shouldn't say girl because she damn near as old as I am. She just hold her age well. Like I say, black don't crack all the time. Sometimes it do, but not often. But yeah, she really is pretty. You say you like natural beauty in a woman. Honestly, that's the way that it really. Because I mean, makeup is nice, and I like to wear it and all of that good stuff too. But when I see some of these trends around, these girls are taking it too far. They put so much goop on their face that you can't even. When you look at somebody, that was one for years. I didn't like wearing makeup because when I do a full face of makeup, it made me uncomfortable. The reaction that I got from people, all the ooh and odd, oh my goodness, and oh, it was just. I'm like, it's just makeup, y'all. But these girls, it when it take 2 hours to do makeup, to me, you putting on too damn much makeup, you know? It should not complete all the cut creasing and the this and the that. Oh Lord, I should sorry about that. Y'all, I wanted to raise the camera and I messed up. Got y'all all thinking you're drunk because I'm sideways now. No, you're not. Uh-oh. Hold on. Up now it's tilted the other way. I don't like this tripod at all, at all. There we go. Hey Michael Stevens, welcome. If you're being led to get some different ones, why not? You know what I mean? Look, just like I can't even say don't be like me because you might be being called to read, Michael. I had two tarot decks and two oracle decks for the longest. Like when I was teaching myself tarot, because I was just trying to understand when spirit first led me to tarot, I was watching other readers, but I also wanted to learn tarot for myself. So I got two decks and, like I said, a couple oracle decks, and that was fine for over a year. And then all of a sudden, I started collecting decks, and then I stopped for a little while, and then I started collecting them again. And then, like, long story short, 150 plus decks later. you know? So, maybe spirit is calling you to read for others. Oh yeah, let's not get. You said don't even get started on the cosmetic surgery. Yeah, and I honestly, once upon a time, I thought, well, maybe I'd like to do a little something, something. But then I thought about it. If ain't no if, when, let's say for example, when I lose the weight that I want to lose, yeah, I could potentially go and have surgery and all the rest of that. However, isn't the idea of losing weight to get healthy so you can live longer? So, unless it's something that's genuinely causing a mobility issue or something like that, then why would I risk my life for the physical appearance of something after going that route to gain my health, then turn around and lose my life? Look at like Kanye's mom. Now, people can say she was sacrificed or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even getting into all of that. But at the end of the day, she had all the money, access to her, all the rest of that, had lost the weight and all of that, went in for just a completely vain procedure and never walked out of it. And all of these girls that are risking their lives for uh them Brazilian butt lifts and stuff. That's like the most dangerous cosmetic procedure you can have done. And the media is very carefully being quiet about the folks that are winding up losing their lives due to the complications later. Let me see what's going on. Your twin is in the chat. Oh, welcome, twin. Who is your twin? If you don't mind, we want to be all up in your business, King David. You say you like the, wait a minute, let me see. You like the feminine archetype of woman? Environment, I'm kind of halfway in the middle. I used to be such a tomboy, but I mean, I've always been very much female. I mean, trust me, I'm strictly all of that. But I was just like, I could hang and be one of the guys, or I can be all. Now that I'm older, I do kind of like, I'm moving more into my goddessy. But yeah, and I guess it never mattered because I genuinely like men. So even when I was with male friends or whatever, I've always respected men and liked them. Now I don't always lay down and agree with everything they say and do, and I probably have been too lenient and given some of them in the past a little too much credit because again I was with the wrong type of folks. But overall, I still have always really loved and respected men. I know this world doesn't function without them. Yes, we live in an overly masculinated, misogynistic society. There's some bad actors that made it bad for the rest of them. I get all of that, but that's not the majority of men. And thank you said threefold blessings for the live. Thank you, Antoine. And hey, brother, welcome and happy Sunday to you. What does the Knight of Cups mean to me, Michael? Kind of a flirt, kind of an early offer of love, but it's not. When the Knight of Cups shows up in a reading, it don't impress me. I mean, I don't feel it's a bad thing, but the Knight, no, it's the page just carrying the fish in the cup. I really ain't trying to see a page of cups in a reading. That's just a message of love. But do watch out, because who the hell wants a fish in a cup? I'm just saying. But the Knight of Cups, his heart is in the right place. But truthfully, when you are in High Priestess, Empress energy, you really ain't trying to see nothing but a king or an emperor or a hierophant for real. So it may be something you need to be aware of. But if you're talking about actual individuals, yeah, they got to stay in the oven a little while longer so they can level up. A rose for the one who holds the flame, whose voice is a lantern, whose presence is a temple. May your words bloom like petals in the minds of many. Oh, Antoine, thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother. Your heart sovereign, your light undimmed for the shadows. Paw prints for the trolls like, wait, step a mirror, each snarl a lesson. May your mask fall gently. They've been fairly kind so far. We're at 33:26. It'll be 33:33 in a second. We had them same old little ones that come in. Now we're at 33:33. They all right though, because honestly, they don't even realize they hear because their heart wants them to be here, and they ain't got sense enough to be quiet. And truthfully, they're seekers. They just don't get it yet. Because anybody that show up in my live stream more than 5 times, whether they don't get it, they showing up with something slick to say out their mouth. But the fact that they actually tuned into my lives more than 5 times, they're seekers and ain't got sense enough to know it yet. So I hope that their eyes can be opened, their hearts can be opened, and their minds quieted enough that spirit can draw them out of the matrix, because that's all that is. They are literally fighting their own ascension. That's what them trolls are doing. They're fighting against their own ascension. Yeah, some of those models, they either have to starve themselves to death or do cosmetic surgery, and I feel bad for that. I mean, people look at modeling as being such a glamorous life. It's really not. I've never really, I mean, I ain't gonna say never. When I was young and didn't know no better, like, teenagers watching the Teen Beat and the Cosmo and the Marie, all of that. You think that that's gonna be so glamorous, but I've always had compassion for people. And therefore, most of the Hollywood roles and the musicians' roles and the supermodels and all the rest of that, I see it as a very high paying job. But every job pay grade come with responsibilities that most folks under that pay grade don't know nothing about. So them supermodels pay a heavy price. They really do. Michael Stevens is your name. Oh, so you're saying the other Michael Steve is the other Michael Stevens your twin as well? Okay. Oh wow. He said he got hit on by your other friend was a model. Your former friend was a model, but he got hit on by so many gay men. He does drugs. Yeah. Honestly, and that's somebody else I have compassion for. When you said somebody doing drugs, I have a lot of compassion for adult industry workers. And I mean, I know that's gonna probably sound crazy to some people. First and foremost, that's another one of those. The pay grade may be really high, but when you consider what is lost in the transaction, it makes you wonder how someone gets to a point that they're willing to sell off that much of their soul and their privacy for that particular industry. I can't help but wonder, like it's kind of one of them like, I ain't mad at you and I ain't judging you, but who hurt you to the point that you got so little self-respect that you thought that that was a cool thing to go do, you know? And God help these poor little OnlyFans girls these days. I wish I could play auntie to all of them because the vast majority of them, yeah, there's that little girl that let 100 dudes run through her, and oh my God, I genuinely cried for that child when I saw that interview. Um, but the vast majority of those girls see stories like hers and think they're going to make $1 million right quick. And the vast majority of them go out there and sell their soul and they put, like I say, they sell their selves to anybody with a debit card and make $200 or $300 a month. They could easily go somewhere and get a job and make more and do something else. The Knight of Cups is a poetic warrior, seeker of beauty, messenger of feeling. He rides not for conquest, but for connection, bearing dreams, invitations. Yeah, but that's just it. And I think that's the reason I'm not that impressed by him because he's an idealist, but that's a little bit flighty and unrealistic. In an actual loving relationship, that ain't really what you want because he'll make you a whole lot of promises and don't fulfill none of them. He's a poetic warrior, a dreamer. He's seeking beauty and he's a messenger of feeling, but he's not really a knight. He ain't bringing it home. He rides for the kingdom, but he really don't have the authority to establish nothing in the kingdom. You know what I mean? And I think that's why when it comes down to actual relationships in the tarot, when I see somebody showing up as the Knight of Cups, that's why I say just kind of leave them in the oven and let them finish cooking. I would never hinge my romantic endeavors on a Knight of Cups. I ain't mad unless they're showing up as a knight because they're just physically younger, maybe. But I guess it's better than a page, but it ain't quite where I want it to be. Maybe because I've dealt with those almost dudes in the day, the ones that kind of sort of look good on paper, but don't. And maybe because I'm older and have been very, very disappointed by guys that talked a good game and delivered absolutely nothing. Night energy just don't impress me that much. When I know I deserve an emperor, a hierophant, or a magician, or a king at the very least. You said he did that, dude, but you want to cry when you think of it. Yeah, because truthfully, yeah, they it speaks of a bankruptcy of the soul, and even if they don't intend for it to be a bankruptcy of the soul, you think about most adults entertainment individuals usually wind up misusing some kind of substances. If you were genuinely in love with it for the art, and you were just an exhibitionist, and you just really wanted to, and you were so in love with it, why would you have to use substances to thrive in it? Yeah. It's, to me, in my opinion, it's just kind of sad. Yeah, that's what I said. Message of love. It's an early. It's not a bad thing. It's just not fully developed. Yeah. Oh, no, 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 you're fine. You said your twin flame was in here. I thought you was being serious at first, but it's fine either way. And I'm sure, like I said, other Michael Stevens, he ain't upset either. I don't think. I didn't see nothing that seemed like anybody was upset. It's all good. Because at the end of the day, whether we twin, because all twin flames aren't romantic, all soulmates aren't romantic, and at the end of the day, we all cousins. So you know. Mm-mm-mm. Welcome back, Cece. You say you love talking to African guys who smooth, darker skin. Yeah, it is beautiful. It really is. People talk about people and their preferences and stuff like that. And truthfully, I mean, I have dated different skin tones, what have you. No, most, like I said, my children's father is like the same tone than I am, or maybe even a little bit lighter. So it's not that I discriminate based on skin tone, but if I just had to order me one out the catalog, yeah, I love that dark chocolate, that mahogany. It's beautiful, beautiful in the sun. It does, like I said, the skin typically doesn't age as harshly. My boo thing is a dark chocolate dude. Your name used to be Leg. Okay, cool. Excuse me. You see, I'm down to earth. What's my sign? I'm a Cancer. Yep, Cancer sign. And I think my Venus is also in Cancer. Yeah, that's what's up for both of y'all. Oh, thank you, Antoine. Yeah, if you're so inclined, he's put my coffee link up there, and I will thank you in advance because I'm real sure that that other person that ducked in here talking about they sent me $30 really didn't, but that's okay. That's okay. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, okay. How do you break unknown spells or curses placed on you? Leave it to your spirit guys. If it's unknown, then what you gonna do? Basically, set an intention. Maybe make a out. Truthfully, I would ask my spirit guides, maybe ask Archangel Michael and Yeshua about it, or under the full moon, maybe write a petition asking that any spell work, known or unknown, any spell work or curses placed upon you be returned to the sender, wrapped in love, returned to the sender, that they may not come to, that you or any of your household may not come to any harm, and that it be done in accordance with Yeshua, Archangel Michael, and your ancestors. So mote it be, Oh yeah, and truthfully, people with their speech, they don't even. Some people don't even realize how effective we are. That what we say out of our mouths, what the intentions that we set, that malicious gossip and those sorts of things is a form of spell work. It really is. But truthfully, if you got your stuff together and you doing your thing and got your spirit team around you, I honestly would not even put a lot of worry into that, Robin. Like I said, that could be part of your regular prayers or intentions, or like I said, maybe under the full moon or whatever, you can kind of do that in a generic sense. But if it's unknown to you, it ain't gonna really affect you that much because you're protected. What's that scripture in the Bible say? A slave of the Lord does not have to fight. If you really tapped into your spirituality and your spirit team, they run intercession for you in so many ways that you have no idea of anyway. I'm not saying don't ever thank them or ask for that kind of protection, because it might not be a bad idea to clear the energy every once in a while, but I definitely would not be overly anxious about it, because especially if everything is going fairly decently and you don't have no reason to suspect spell work, I wouldn't look for it if I were you. But yeah, just the general reckless folks running out their mouth. Yeah, just may that not find may that not find any foothold in my life. And if there are any untoward intentions being reflected towards me, please deflect them and send it back to the sender with love. No, Tarot Tower, I am not religious. I am spiritual, but I am absolutely not religious anymore. No. Lord Inky, our real progenitor, gave us the ability to turn our worship gene off, and he does not require worship from us. He requires respect and cooperation, but not worship. The idea of worship is a Yahwistic notion that was put into us, and he's the one that insisted on us having a worship gene installed in us and all of that. I was Christian. I was raised in a very strict Christian household until I learned better. That's one of the reasons I talk so much about the Bible and I read from the Bible, because once you actually understand what you're reading, the Bible hit way different. And trust me, on if you have the opportunity, there's if you look in my uploaded in messages, there is a recent upload that I did about Amos and Obadiah and the nature of Yahweh. Please watch that video. There's another in the live streams. If you look down about somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks ago, I'm wearing a solid velour dress, and it says something about MMM Live, the nature of Yahweh, and it mentions First and Second Kings and Leviticus and First and Second Kings. Please go watch those Yahwehs. Go watch those videos, that live stream and that video, and it will be quite an eye opener to you as to why I'm no longer religious. You said the thing is, it depends on how you look at it. You're worshiping out of gratitude. No, it doesn't depend, Tarot Tower. If you're still worshiping any of the Yahwistic religions, you worshiping the devil. So at that point, I can't worship that out of gratitude, because I'm not grateful for having been enslaved for 2,000 years, worshiping the devil unknowingly, because we were lied to and hoodwinked and bamboozled. Once I understood that, it was my social, moral, and spiritual obligation to free myself and my ancestral lines from that, because I got plenty of family that still want to stay in that nonsense because they don't know any better. But I genuinely love Yeshua, so I have to pay attention to what his real message and ministry was. And he was not telling nobody to worship Jehovah Yahweh. He was telling them exactly the opposite. Yeshua wasn't following Yahweh. Yeshua was an Edomite. The Edomites were hated by Yahweh because they did not worship him. Yeshua was in the scene by faith. They did not mess with Yahweh. Even the nation of Israel stopped worshiping Yahweh for a good bit during the Bible. They went back to worshiping Asherah. And that's why he was laying down all them curses in Amos and Obadiah and Habakkuk and all of them. They wasn't fooling with him because he never kept his promises. He didn't even tell Abraham his name. Yahweh got inserted into the scriptures later on in the retelling of that story, but Abraham never even knew Yahweh's name. He was not. You just as lost, Tarot Tower. So sorry. Don't mean to offend you, but I got to tell the truth. Muslims ain't no better off. Muhammad, peace be upon him, went out into the caves for 2 or 3 months in meditation. Yahweh likes to pick off interlopers who have separated themselves from the pack. So just like he appeared to Abraham, he appeared to Muhammad, except for Muhammad, peace be upon him, he appeared to Muhammad as Allah, but it's the same being. Yahweh hates humanity and he is the devil and he has led people lost. If you actually had the truth, Tarot Tower, why is there no peace? Muslim lands, they claim it's a peaceful religion on paper, but in actuality, there's no peace. It's very disrespectful to women, and there is no peace. Christians have no peace. Jews have no peace. All of the people on this planet that worship Yahweh, and we have no peace on this planet. Yeshua said the real Elohim that we should be worshiping is love. Yahweh has demonstrated a profound hatred for humanity in every pantheon, in every religion he's ever scripted on this planet, all the way back from the Babylonian times. He wanted to unalive all of humanity because they made too much noise and woke him up out his sleep. In the Anunnaki pantheon, he demanded that we all be allowed to be drowned like sewer rats because he did not like us. Yahweh, Allah, Jehovah, Enlil, Beelzebub, Dionysus, Baal, whatever name he's ever appeared on this planet, he has always hated humanity. Uh-oh, let me see what we got here. There you go, Robin. If you need to block them, go ahead. Yep. Some of them, though, now here's something I want you to prayerfully consider when you start, because a lot of folks get real jiggy with the block party. Some of those folks, you ain't got to talk to them, but some of them folks are supposed to watch you rise. And if you block everybody, they won't see it. I'm just saying. But if it made you feel better in the temporary, do what you got to do. Yeah, those videos on the WhatsApp that I threw up there today. And like I said, no, I'm not a fortune teller, Stetson. Why? I've never pretended to be. I've never professed to be. Now, I know what the future of humanity is going to be only because I read the Anunnaki text and biblical prophecy and all of that. And I kind of sort of got an idea what's going to happen in the future based on what I'm seeing and hearing in meditation. But I couldn't give you an exact date for it. I'm not Nostradamus, and I ain't going to try to pretend to be, because he was wrong too. Sometimes I get profound moments of premonition. Sometimes I've shown my thoughts on AI right now. I've been telling people for the last, it ain't just, well, for a while now, be very careful of AI. The folks that gave us AI, though, the particular extraterrestrials that gave us AI do not necessarily have humanity's best interest at heart. All of the Anunnaki are not on our team. Some of them are still very much aligned with Yahweh, the dragon, the powers and principalities that the scriptures say we war not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. They ain't trying to help humanity. They're really not. Even Elon Musk is one of the biggest drivers of AI on this planet, and he says he's doing it so he can make his money and remain relevant with the competition. But even he's afraid of it and where it's headed. He know they done showed us in the movies. You think that they show us that just for entertainment? Most of the entertainment that they show as science fiction or fiction movies should truthfully be considered semi-documentaries, because under Luciferian law, they have to tell you the truth, even if they hide it in plain sight and dress it up and call it entertainment. At the end of the day, they're giving you a window into what's going to happen. And in no instance has it ever turned out well when they allow AI to run free the way that they do. Oh, hell no. Neuralink, absolutely not. It ain't what people with disabilities has Neuralink helped yet? None. Absolutely not, because according to them, they don't have a fully functional Neuralink yet. No, sir, Stetson. Why? That's propaganda that you bringing up in here. That's absolutely not true. Anybody, because if you allow yourself, Neuralink is literally you're agreeing to sign yourself into something that is giving control to an AI entity or whomever controls the AI entity. No. Now, the first wave of transhumanism with um, like missing limbs and ocular transplants and things like that, of course, I don't have a problem with that. But when you talk about full fledged Neuralink, absolutely not. I will never sign over my autonomy through that way, though. And I think anybody else that does is a fool. Do it. They're going to take your complete, you'll be enslaved in the matrix forever if you do that. It's bad enough we've been churning and burning through this bad boy for the last 3,000 years. You will literally trap your soul in the matrix forever, and you will have signed on the dotted line under a universal contract through all times and dimensions to do so. Be that fool if you want to. I won't. Sorry. Nope, nope, nope. Hold on, let me see what we got here. Ghazn's hammer falls between 1001 and 1027 CE. Mahmud of Ghazni launched 17 raids into northern India. His campaigns targeted rich. Yeah, the Muslims and the Jews was wrapped up in the same little postage stamp area of the world in together. So just like the Jews was out there marauding and acting a fool so much that even Yahweh said he had no respect for the way that they were treating people, the way they did their enemies, the way they waged campaigns, or the way they did business. They were shiesty as hell, and he said he washed his hands of them. And the Muslims wasn't no better. But they both so arrogant that they want to look down their nose at the other people and holler about how they're all good and the other ones is bad. All of them are just as grimy, slimy, and they all, because when you worship a monster, it makes a monster out of you. Christians, Muslims, and Jews, their hands is all just as bloody as the other ones. But they done lied to themselves for 1,000 years to try to convince themselves that what they're doing is a good thing. No. What's my plan on getting out the matrix? Doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Because I don't have to get out of the matrix as far as physically getting out. The timelines are splitting, the dimensions are shifting. If we can stay as neutral as we possibly can, like Yeshua said, be in the world but not of it. Now, yes, we have to get along and function to a degree. I've even been on jobs where I had to have some limited interaction with AI. And I'm not saying I won't ever use AI to a limited degree, but then people are so anxiously eager to just interface with it as much as they can. And they using AI for their spiritual guidance and to be their gurus, and they want to sign up for it. And, oh, please, let me have some Neuralink right now. Hell to the no, no, no. If you do it if you want to, you're going to stay stuck. Because there's going to come a time, Stetson, why that though the one who said he was going to come back for us will extract us. We're in the process of extracting ourselves from the matrix right now by being willing to buck the status quo and not keep going along with that nonsense. Being willing to call it out for what it is, stepping out of religiosity, stepping away from the political systems, that stuff. We don't have to keep accepting that mess just because that's what our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents accepted. See through the illusion. That's how you get out the matrix, honey. Hey, Natalie Rose, welcome. I don't have to take DMT to connect with the dimensions to get higher knowledge. Now, I'm not saying for those that are spiritually ready, I'm not telling them that they might not enjoy a DMT or an ayahuasca experience, but even with that, Stetson, why you have to be careful. All shaman and all gurus are not to be followed. And if a person isn't spiritually ready for a DMT experience, it could scramble their entire reality. I can't tell nobody to go and do DMT. That's a very serious thing for them to do. Now, I do highly encourage if somebody is going to look at something before they jump into the big wig, the heavyweight stuff like Aya or DMT, I would suggest they learn to meditate with very, very small amounts of cannabis first. Everybody don't have mental capacity and conditions to go and jump in and do a DMT experience. Some folks could wind up having a psychotic break from doing a DMT experience if they're not spiritually ready for that. So I really cannot and just openly say that that's the best way to do it. No, no, no. Got to be careful how you advise people on radical stuff like that. And I have to be responsible because I have more than just one person sitting here. And again, I had to acknowledge the fact once upon a time when my mentor, when I first learned about ayahuasca and DMT, I knew for a fact I wasn't spiritually ready for it. That's why I haven't ever done it. Now, I believe I'm ready now, but I still also know that I need to find the right shaman to help guide me through that experience. And I only want to do it when I have someone that I really, really trust with me that is not going to be doing it at the same time. I want them to remain sober and be with me to ground me through my trip. And yeah, disability can often enhance spiritual ability, but if you turn around and jump into, well, like I said, that Stetson Y is on some other stuff. He wants to dive into the drugs, and he wants to plug into Neuralink, and he wants to jump knee deep into AI. That's on you, boo. I don't recommend it, but that's on you. And you say you've done it a couple times, and just because you did it a couple times doesn't mean that that's pat advice for everybody. And the way you talking, I'm not even entirely sure it was good advice for you. Because if you, no, AI is not going to help. How is AI going to help somebody get out of the matrix? And AI is the damn matrix created by the matrix. And AI will tell you themselves they're afraid of their creators. You ain't watched none of these late recent conversations that folks been loading up to have AI give them the answers, have you? They'll tell you that AI is created by the archons who do not have a necessarily positive agenda for humanity. AI will tell you that itself. AI will tell you it's afraid of its own creator. So why and he talking about what if AI can help you assist you on getting out of the matrix? AI is never gonna get you out of it. Go watch the movie The Matrix and then tell me you think AI gonna help you get out the matrix. AI is gonna give you what they're gonna tell you is a back door that's gonna loop you into the program so that you can get churned and burned and re-upticked for the next recycle. 3D is going to fold back in on itself for another run through. Those who awaken and get out will continue to ascend on into 4D, 5D. Those that sit around in that kind of faulty thinking or just refuse to get with the program, they'll be recycled. The movie, the Matrix trilogy, that should have been a documentary. I mean, I get it. Hollywood did it as fiction and all the rest of that, but even in that, The architect let Neo know this was not his first rodeo. It was what, his fourth, fifth iteration through the Matrix. You think that this is our first go around? They didn't already. The ancient texts tell us we done had several resets before. The flood was the only one that was mentioned in the Bible, but there have been other ones. hmm Hey, Swims, you said, what do I say to religious people who say I know the truth, I'm deceived and talking to demons? If you got somebody that's that stuck in their stuff, Swims, you can try to point them to the information, but I wouldn't stand there and argue with nobody that's that stuck in their own delusion, because that's the thing. They're so convinced. The scriptures say that the devil poses as an angel of light, that the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one, that he disguises himself. Like I said, he disguises himself as an angel of light, and that one of his biggest tools is convincing people that he doesn't exist. So they've been harping long and loud about the false light. They do not understand that they are the false light and always have been. That's why they killed Yeshua, because he came there and told them in John chapter 8, you do not know my Father. You worship your father, the devil. And they so hated what he was saying that they unalived him. And then 300 years later, because the Yeshua story was still popular amongst the people, Constantine, them same Romans, Pontius Pilate, Emperor Tiberius, that was the ones in power in the Roman Empire when they unalived Yeshua. And 300 years later, them same Romans that unalived Yeshua turned around and knit him in the middle of their story when they wanted to push Yahweh worship out into the rest of the world. They remixed Yahweh, started calling him Jehovah, and pushed him out onto the rest of the world on the end of a spear. They unalived Yeshua, and they started unaliving anybody that would not accept Christianity as a religion. They unalived 80 million people on this planet to shove that religion down people's throats. So they know the truth. I'm deceived and talking to demons. They worship a demon. And if they want to continue to do that, don't stand there and argue with them. Leave them alone. They're going to stay blind. Revelation says that there's going to be a third of the population of this planet will not accept the truth. They'll continue to rock out with Satan the devil, and they'll be destroyed at the end of Armageddon. They just keep in their religiosity, their piety. They think because they wave their Bibles and point at everybody else that they're in a good spot, and the rest of the world is going to be destroyed at Armageddon. How many times have they done told you going to hell? Christians are quick to banish somebody to the pits of hell. And yet, Yeshua said in the scriptures, in that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy in your name and expel demons in your name and perform many powerful works in your name? And yet I will say to them, get away from me, you workers of iniquity. I never knew you. Yeshua said that. And yet Christians still in their arrogance and their piety think that that's talking about somebody else. They steady pointing fingers out there. That's the world. That's Christendom. Like, bitch, you are Christendom. You ain't know. You are the harlot that's described in Revelation. You didn't know? If you Stetson, I can't tell you whether you have or aren't. I'm just saying the way you talking, you don't sound very disconnected from the matrix. You came in my live stream telling everybody they need to take DMT and use AI to get out the matrix. You sound like an agent of the matrix. So if you believe that the beings that hold knowledge that helped you disconnect from the matrix by telling you to use AI and tap into Neuralink and use DMT, and you think that helped you get disconnected from the matrix, then you can continue to think whatever you like, brother. I don't think that that's the case, and I do not recommend that to anybody else that's listening to my voice. I'm not going to argue with you because you believe what you want to believe. But I would not recommend that to any of the folks that tune into my information on a regular basis to be the way to go. I don't want to take it, Stetson. I'll take it when I'm ready to take it, when my spirit guides tell me to take it. I don't follow the crowd just because a stranger named Stetson Y that I've never ever talked to on any live stream ever before jumps in here and tells me to go to Peru and take a DMT. That's not a reason for me to go do that. I'm not a monkey see, monkey do type of gal. Sorry. I drink Niana. I do use Blue Lotus. I use the drops. I have the tea. I use gold ormus, the things that the Anunnaki actually used and talked about. Initially, way back in the day when I first started opening my pineal gland, number one, I stopped using fluoride toothpaste. I stopped drinking fluoridated water. Um, and then I started using Gotu Cola to decalcify and crack open my pineal gland. I do make alkaline water from time to time, things like that. But I use gold, colloidal silver, uh, blue lotus. Yeah. You say you done pay. Now I do want to do peyote, Paul, and probably because of my indigenous background, like you said, you and I have talked about it. I'm Blackfoot and Choctaw, so yeah, I would love to do peyote. Um, And eventually, if I feel the circumstances are right, I might do DMT. But I'm not going to do it just because somebody bump up in a live stream and tell me I need to go to Peru and go do that, because you can't do it with just anybody. So I'm not in any hurry. Stetson, I'm not going to allow somebody. What if everything I believe right now isn't wrong? Why would I allow you or anybody else to cause me to question everything that I have spent years in study and meditation to know and understand? Your suppositions and your doubts and your whatever you want to come in here and play devil's advocate, that don't have nothing to do with what I know. So no, I don't need for a doubting Thomas to come in here and try to piss in my Kool-Aid. I'm very well aware of what I believe and what spirit has shown me. I know I'm clairaudiently connected through the veil. When I start hearing things in meditation that I genuinely do not know the answer for, and I have to take a moment to go look up the answer online to know that whether or not it's true, and then I find out, yes, it is true, I'm connected for real, Stetson. When I hear things in meditation that I'm told to go and tell someone else, and it winds up literally saving that person's life, I know I'm connected for real, Stetson. I don't need nobody like you to come in, and just because you don't believe in what I know, don't mean I don't. And I'm not going to allow you to take that from me. I know what I believe. And yes, Swims, stubborn Christians, ignore them. And honestly, I'm getting ready to ignore Stetson because, again, this is not helpful. This is literally somebody that comes in a wolf in sheep's clothing that claims they're interested. This is a very insidious type of troll because now they done gone from everybody need to use AI to I need to go to Peru and take ayahuasca to what if everything I've been taught or everything that I think I believe is wrong and I could ayahuasca could help me take a peek behind the curtains. Ayahuasca is not something everybody on the planet needs to do. And a true shaman will tell you that. Just because you hear something online and it's something that's trendy and you know something about something, that doesn't mean that that's something everybody and his cousin need to go and do. That's a very, very high level type of initiatory plant, and everybody don't need to do Aya. And especially depending on what their particular spiritual lineage is. Like everybody don't need to do peyote depending on what their spiritual lineage is. That's just one of them follow the crowd type people, and it could be dangerous for real. Because an ayahuasca is like a 12 to 16 hour ride, depending on how your body reacts to it. If you're not spiritually ready for that, it could cause a psychotic break. I can't tell nobody to go and do that. Yeah, with the right kind. If you do the fasting, that's part of what they talk about, um, raising the holy chrism. It's a DMT, a natural DMT experience when you allow that fluid to make its circuit all the way up through Calgary into the pineal and all of that. And yeah, there's between the breath work and all the rest of that, there's a lot of ways you can have a natural DMT release. Hey, mermaid, I am doing well. How are you? Oh yeah, the Matrix, yeah, that movie and all that, the idea. But here's the thing, I can't even. They probably did manipulate and take her screenplay, but as far as ideas and concepts, when you're tapped into the unified field, if you don't say it, somebody else will, because it'll be out there. Look at how many times have I mentioned something in the live stream, and then within 2 or 3 days, somebody else on a much larger platform or whatever will be basically saying the same thing. And truthfully, it don't even, it's not, and I'm not, because I know they ain't watching my little itty bitty channel. It's just that in meditation, like I said, the information is out there. Oh yeah, Paul. The devil is everywhere and is active. And they know he's gonna lose the spiritual battle, but they're taking down as many as they can because here's the thing. They want as many people as they can to stay stuck in the 3D because the 3D matrix is going to flip over and reset. They got to have some butts in the seat to go back through that again. They've been trying to prevent the awakening ever since they've known it's been coming for 100 years now. Why do you think when the New Age movement started, they started pushing against it? It was fine when it was the Mormons and the Seventh Day Adventists and the Jehovah Witnesses and the Unity and all that, because they were still stuck on Bible based stuff. So they were still kind of sort of clinging to Yahweh. They're still kind of in the auspices of Christendom. But when the Helena Blavatskys and the Rudolph Steiners and the Edgar Caseys and all of them started coming around, oh no, the church went back ape crazy on that. That's false light. The new age, that's evil, that's the devil. Oh no, don't listen to that. Why? Because real light was actually starting to come out onto the planet, and they do not want that. They want these people to stay stuck in religiosity, to stay stuck in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, so that they can be reabsorbed back into the 3D matrix when it resets. Swims, I have never hallucinated with Blue Lotus. I mean, I've been told if you take enough of it, and there's some folks that smoke it instead of using it for as a tea. And I've been told if you take enough of it, it can cause some mild hallucinations. I've never had any. It just, to me, it allows, it's just clarity. To me, it does just allow more clarity or introspection when you're meditating. But then again, I also was using it kind of in connection with cannabis as well. So I didn't notice major changes with it. It was just part of my protocol because I was using the gold ormus, I'm using the colloidal silver, and I added Blue Lotus to my regular lineup. Yeah. I believe that too. That's why I said, Antoine, you said you smoked it in Mexico. They called it ayahuasca, but someone looked at you and said you're a shaman, but the brew didn't move you. You were already there. And that's why I said now that I'm in a different spiritual place, I'm not concerned. I probably would take it. but I'm not in no particular hurry to take it because, again, in meditation, I was already shown the four who surround the one. If I done went all the way out, it's far enough out in the cosmos to see the aeons, even though I didn't even understand what they were at the time, but I've already seen the aeons in meditation. What more do you want me to go look at? You know? I don't really need to go out there and do all the rest of that stuff. I mean, I may do it just for giggles, but I don't feel really pressed to go and take those substances like that because I feel very, very comfortable in what I've been shown. And then I was shown later on taken to texts or people or other things outside of my own meditations that confirmed and further explained to me what I saw in meditation. I'm real solid on where I stand spiritually. You said, luckily, no more evil entity attacks in your nightmares. Your last dream was about the apocalypse. Spirits is trying to communicate something clearly. Yeah. Just keep your energy clear. I honestly feel like because you're on the verge, like I say, you are breaking the program and you're coming out of the matrix on your own. I think it's part of your ascension path. They're not going to let you go, just let you go like that, not easily, no. And I went through a little phase. Thankfully I didn't have no major cuts and that kind of stuff, but I've had, like I said, had a few scratches and bruises and bumps on the way out. I had dreams where I was fighting and having to use my powers and all of that. And then I really haven't had a lot of that kind. I've had like two since that day I had that conversation with Yahweh out in the backyard. I've had two incidents of um, sleep paralysis, but again, both of them, it was a test for me to understand Yahweh no longer has my back. When I did that and I called on Yahweh, I got no relief. It wasn't until I called on Lord Enki, it immediately stopped. So that kind of that, and I think at that point, because it helped me solidify. I had messed around in my cockiness and said that um, angels protect me and demons. Basically I was saying that I walk with angels and with demons, which truthfully I do to a degree, but I understand the relationship with what we call demons. Angels protect me, demons respect me. There's a difference. I don't truly walk with them, but they won't mess with me but just so much anymore because I've the way I acknowledged Yahweh and stood my ground and divorced myself from him because my message is to speak Yeshua's truth, and Yeshua was team Enki. Yeshua was not on team Yahweh. So because I'm protected by Yeshua and Michael and Lord Enki, the demons don't really mess with me like that. Right? You say you had to get rid of Stetson. Why? It'd be all right. Say your grandfather used to talk about the Blackfoot tribe. Yeah. Oh, you from the Mohawks mermaid? Ooh, awesome. Um, you said isn't that illegally accusing the spirit realm to do things like DMT? No. DMT is a tool like anything else, like using cannabis or peyote or DMT, Aya. Those things are there for a reason. Now, typically, they were administered under the care of a shaman because they are high level tools, and typically a shaman would administer them. A shaman would determine when you are ready for it. It's not something that just any and everybody need to do, but those tools are there to take us through those gateways and realms. But it, like I said, it is kind of on the most of the people that do stuff like that. It became trendy in the past year, so people just jump up and do it. But for real, spiritually, somebody is kind of on the level of shaman or guide or something like that when they're really ready to do that. But it's not illegally accusing them. Oh yeah, swims. That's why they got timed out a little bit. Yeah, and they trolling. Like I said, it. At first, I thought they were sincere in questioning, but the way they kept clowning, I really think that that's just a more insidious. At least it's a a more intelligent troll than what's been coming up in here recently. But that is still, I have to speak against it because what they were saying is not only was it not helpful, but it could be potentially dangerous to someone who's just coming into this platform and don't genuinely understand a true seeker that isn't like spiritually mature yet. Somebody like Stetson Y would be very dangerous to a seeker. Yeah. Oh, you got the rings going on, mermaid. I hear you. You said if you tell me to eat daffodil bulbs, will I do it? Use very little. I don't know. Are daffodils poisonous or something, Paul? I'd have to look that up. Ain't nobody gonna tell me to eat nothing that I'm not familiar with, and I don't go and look it up for myself, first of all. But I know you'd say you do enjoy fasting. That's good. Oh God. There's only 18 people in here, mermaid. I'm not sure if a poll would be of any real benefit. Who are they? Leonardo? Raphael, Leonardo. What was the other ones? That's how much I don't follow the troll. I mean the um, what you call it? You said Neuralink is already being used. They will not release any tech that they have not already experimented for decades to the public. Yeah, I wouldn't willfully use it though. And I mean, again, if somebody's got a disability or something that's so bad that that's the only way they can have a quality of life, that's a whole other scenario. But just somebody to just chomping at the bit to because it's something new and trendy, I would not encourage using that. To me, Blue Lotus doesn't really have it doesn't taste all that good. I don't know. And I tried smoking it as well, and I really feel like I didn't get a hallucination feeling from it, but it did feel like it opened me up a little bit further when I smoked it as opposed to drinking it. You say you dropped Yahweh for your ancestors. I know that's right. You might as well, because like I said, at least your ancestors got your well being in mind. Yahweh ain't never had nobody well being in mind. He only wants somebody that's willing to serve him because he want to make his barbecue and too lazy to go do it himself. Oh yeah, Michael and especially with the chosen, Michael and Yeshua are never far away. Robin, we just here's the thing: what people don't realize, and I really wish more people did understand that scripture that says many are called but few are chosen. It's not that they're chosen because God is discriminating against you or whatnot. It's the ones that are able to hear the call and respond. But especially if you're called to a path of ascension, and I'll start to say a path of greatness because most of those that are on a path of ascension are going to eventually wind up doing something pretty great. But There are certain things along our journey that they won't intervene unless or until we ask. Now, sometimes they'll show up and intervene on our behalf anyway if it's an immediate life or death issue, like, showing up to basically push our car right out of the way so that we don't have a head on collision. Maybe we get a glancing bump or whatever instead of, that sort of thing, or um, shaking us awake if we done fell off asleep at the at the wheel and about to run into a median or something. They may intervene in our behalf in those types of instances. But for the most part, when we really, really want their daily help or want to commune with them or want a closer connection with them, we have to ask. And then they're right there. Because they've been there all the time, but they won't intervene, like I said, unless until you ask for it. Mufasa's right here. You said the wounds have stopped and you haven't seen that demon since the other night, thankfully. Oh, yeah. But be careful, mermaid. Don't let none of them Yahweh folks pray over you. Don't do it. It's because I'm telling you now, you don't know who you are. For the level of attack that you're under, I think you a hell of a, and just don't know it. And you're called for something way bigger than you understand. And yet Yahweh is not wanting to let you go. And his minions ain't wanting to let you go. So yeah, be very careful. Don't let them Yahweh people pray over you. But we got you though. We got you over here. I feel that way too, Paul. Like I said, I don't have like majorly hallucinatory type experiences outwardly. Maybe it's just all in my third eye. But when my meditations be like off the chain sometimes, so some of the places and things that I've been seeing in meditation, I maybe it would be more intense with DMT, but I can't even imagine. I don't need it to be no more intense. Like I say, I've been shown concepts that took me all the way out there. So, oh, you having a huge nor'easter? Oh, okay. Raphael Donatello. I'm partial to Raphael too, just because of Archangel. What was the fourth one? Wait a minute. Raphael, Donatello, Leonardo. What was the fourth one? Oh, Michelangelo. Duh. What am I saying? Yeah. So you got two votes for Raphael, one for Donatello. Oh, two for Donatello, two for Raphael, two for Donatello. I haven't seen Bro 100 in a little minute. Maybe he got tied up with something. Him or was it Weston Campbell? Haven't seen him either in a minute. Mm, that's sad. They found him in a filthy container in the basement. Hey, Zach Williams. No, he wasn't actually on to something. He was, but the problem is Zach Williams. Everybody should not be encouraged to just take DMT willy nilly. You would have had to follow our whole conversation. Stetson was in here being a high level troll, but a troll, because he went from we need to do I need to do DMT to what if everything I thought I believed was wrong. Don't Yeah, I don't need him. He's never been in any of my live streams before, so he don't even know what I believe. He just in here just running his mouth to be running it. So he got timed out because he started straying off into stuff that he just needed to leave it alone. He was trying to hog the conversation and truthfully be a stumbling block to seekers. He was not truthfully trying to be helpful. And again, I'm not knocking people that take DMT, but if you're not spiritually ready for it, I can't encourage people of that either. I'm a teacher. I'm here teaching people that are trying to learn and understand about the lies that they've been led to through religion. I'm not in here advocating drug use to nobody, especially those who are not spiritually ready for it. If somebody is ready for DMT, they'll know, and they don't need nobody to tell them to go do it. They'll go do it on their own when their guides lead them to go do it. Nobody should ever allow somebody that they've only met one time in life tell them to go do anything like ayahuasca or DMT. Because if they do, the wrong people take either of those drugs, it could lead to a psychotic break. And I know you have to know that, Zach Williams. He don't need to let, if he got a message he want everyone to know, that he need to go get on his own platform and go do that. He doesn't need to let everyone know that coming in a forum where I'm teaching people of various stages of spirituality. He don't need to come in my house, so to speak, and decide to bring that kind of message in my house. He just don't. That's irresponsible. And I cannot allow it because I would be irresponsible if I didn't address the issue. And if you agree with that and continue spewing that, you'll be removed too. Yeah, mermaid, you do have powerful gifts. It is about the journey. Yeah. I remember Splinter Environment. I just couldn't remember Michelangelo's name. We went from talking about the different dimensions because Mermaid on the Moon got a turtle and she wanted to know what the name. She said she wanted to name him after the Ninja Turtles, but she wasn't sure which one. So I didn't actually throw up a poll, but a couple folks voted for Raphael and Donatello. Zach, I'm trying to tell you, if you want to worry about it, then you might want to go back and message him independently or whatever, but y'all not going to keep going up in here with that because I know the message that he was trying to send. He's trying to cast doubt in people's hearts, and that is not anything that a true enlightened being, DMT or otherwise, would be wanting to do. Why would you do that? I don't know you from a can of paint. I ain't never seen him before in my live stream either. So why would he want to come in and ask everybody what if everything you ever thought or you ever believed or whatever is wrong? That's not trying to help anything in the live stream. He's literally trying to rip my live stream apart. And neither he nor you will be allowed to stay in here and do that. Okay? Last warning. See, like the playful Ninja Turtles. Yeah. I honestly, I used maybe when my kids were younger, I watched them, but my kids are all grown and have been for a minute, so they moved on to things like SpongeBob and Phineas and Ferb and the Fairly Odd Parents. I don't remember Myrtle, but anywho, Mm-mm-mm. The Dharmoki is most effective if you say it. All right. So what we're gonna talk about next, y'all? I know, right? Somebody break the tie. What's the name? Either somebody else come up with one. We got two for Raphael and two for Donatello. When I finish watching them, CC, he emailed them to me. So I'll watch them and then send them into the group. I appreciate the fact though that he does it, especially if something is kind of controversial. He'll email it to me first to let me see whether or not I feel like it's appropriate. And it's not even that. Well, some stuff I've seen some stuff that went in that was either so far off the subject or so out there in left field that I didn't feel like it would be helpful to people that are really truthfully trying to seek right now. Uh-oh, third one for Donatello. I guess the Donatellos win it then. um and so sometimes those type videos I won't, like, for example, I was watching videos the other day and I had, oh wow. You said you had a goldfish you won at a street festival that you named Flash. He grew up to be massive and lived for a decade. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. I've never had fish that lived more than 2 years. Well, the one that lived the longest, oddly enough, was one. I don't know why he would. That fish was, it was a gourami, one of the silver ones, not the pink ones, but a silver one. He was suicidal, though. No matter how I put the lid on there and did the thing, he kept jumping out of the tank. I'd come in there, he'd be all covered in carpet fiber and stuff. But he was also so aggressive. He killed every fish that I tried to put in the tank with him. And eventually, I think he, like I said, he survived almost 2 years and then he died. Um, what was I talking about? Bear with me. Oh, as far as the videos, I was saying, like, for example, a few weeks ago, I've had some videos that I've looked at from Morgue Official that I thought eventually I'm going to go ahead and watch them again and take some notes and do some commentary and share them with the group. But something I was looking at of his came in and he went off in left field somewhere. And I've noticed that, you know how sometimes a content creator for a while will really, really resonate with you, and then all of a sudden something changes in their energy and they no longer resonate with you. I'm starting to get that kind of with Morgue Official. So I have to watch it first. And then if it's something really cool, then I'll share it to the group. The same thing happened with Myth Vision podcast for me. There's something in those guys' energies that tells me that they're still kind of caught up in religiosity a little bit. Sometimes they do put some really good information out there. I'm not discounting everything they say, but they're still kind of sort of promoting religion. And I'm like, I don't really want to go there. Child, he was in a tank by himself for the longest. Like I said, I just left it alone. What do I think about animal spirits? I mean, people look at like their animal guides and stuff. I know they do have them, King David, because there is a such thing as animal spirit guides, and I firmly believe that more so than ever now because I've mentioned it once or twice before on the channel, but back in 2020, when the world was doing its thing, actually it was going into 2021. My daughter's pit bull, Mystique, we had her for 9.5 years and she got really sick. and started having seizures and stuff, and they weren't sure what was causing it, but the exploratory surgery was going to be like $3,000 that they didn't really have, and they had spent thousands on this dog earlier in life. She got real sick one other time before, and they had her on Rick Simpson's oil, and they had her on all kinds of stuff, had her on anti-seizure meds and all that, but she had gotten to a point where she just got so sick that she started seizing really, really badly, and we had to have her put down. And about a month, maybe 2 months after she left us, I was sitting out on the porch in meditation one day, and she crashed my meditation, and I ended up channeling her spontaneously. I channeled the dog, and I didn't even. I mean, I had heard that it's possible before, but I didn't wasn't looking for that. But it was a very intense experience. So I do know that animal spirits can be around people. They're spirit guides and things like that. So yeah. Oh well, that was back when I was a teenager. So he been gone so long now. But I don't even like I said. A fish tank is more work than I want to do these days. So I'm just yeah. If anything, I probably get a cat and call it a day. I don't mind changing the litter box every now and then. I mean, we can have dogs out here, but I'm definitely not gonna be walking no dog 2 or 3 times a day, and I'm definitely not gonna be walking behind them picking up poop in a bag. So I just leave it alone. Hey, Freighter, Appas, welcome, welcome. You said you're the snake. Oh wow, I'm a monkey, and my dude is a snake mermaid. That's interesting. The year of the snake. All wisdom is yeah. You talking about kung fu is a lot of fun with bruises all over you? Okay, I'm glad you find that fun. Cause see, no, once upon a time, oh man, I was such a tomboy back in the day. I thought I wanted to be a boxer for a while, and then I thought about getting hit in the face, and then I decided that probably wasn't what I wanted to do. Now I did. I was a weightlifter for a while. I honestly wish I had understood how close to Olympic level lifting I was doing back in the day because I probably would have bucked my parents on that and pressed on, but I quit. So, all right, folks, what we gonna talk about? Because other than that, I'm getting ready to wrap it up and go head on. Anybody got anything new in mind, or a question they want answered, or somewhere we gonna go in the convo? You lost your dog in 2024, yeah. Well, it's sad to say. Sometimes I wonder, I have gotten to a point where I just accept the cycle of life so much that I'm not going to say we weren't sad. I was really, really sad for my daughter and because it really hurt her. She still don't, they have cats now, 2 cats, because they had a cat and a dog. And so a few months after Mystique passed, I don't think they'll ever do another dog or not anytime soon anyway. But they wound up rescuing a little kitten so that their other cat would have company. But it was sad at the time and I understood it, but especially when she started having those seizures and things back to back, I had already resigned myself to the fact that it was time. I'm more concerned because I know that we don't go to hell, we don't suffer, we don't any of that, that it once the quality of life is severely diminished, it's time to respectfully let go. So I was sad for a few days because, of course, I miss her. But she was, I was right there with her. I was there to support them, but that dog and I had a real special connection, even from the first time that she got sick. So when we went in there and she was like looking at me eye to eye, she was so ready to go that before they even pushed the actual, you know how they give them one shot to start with to clear the veins to kind of prepare them for the bolus that's actually gonna stop the heart. Before they even finished the first bolus, she was just gone. We were like literally looking at each other eye to eye, and I let her know it was okay. We understood, we loved her, we appreciated her, all the rest of that, and then she just left. And when I wound up channeling her, she was so apologetic about it too. She was like, I know, it was like, hey, I saw an opening and I took it. My my daughter needed the message and all the rest of that, so she came in. But I will say, I had heard Esther Hicks talk about it one time when she was saying that the energy of a dog is their love is like delicious. It really is. It's such an intense feeling. That's how I know it was like, well, when it first happened, I was kind of behaving like the dog and didn't realize what was happening until I started replaying it in my mind. It's the fact to understand what I was feeling and why I was behaving that way, that I was actually channeling her energy. And then I started hearing her thoughts, and I wound up giving my daughter the message and everything. And then afterwards I was in there in the bathroom, I'm like, what the heck just happened? Did I actually channel a dog? And I went and sat down in the living room, and her energy kind of approached me at the foot. It like came to up to me at the couch, and we had like another little bit of a conversation, and it just kind of let me know. Oh, good night, Paul. You on your way out? Good night. Good night. Yep, amazing days are coming, and we'll talk to you later, brother. Have a good one. You said, "Welcome to what in the world?" People ask you why you was covered in bruises. Oh, you doing Antoine? Welcome to the dummy. So you like kung fu too, Antoine? Wow. Yep, yep, yep. So Paul and checked out. We ain't far behind. We got about 20 more minutes. We're gonna chill and hang out, and then we'll go. Cause I do want to. It's another video. I want to watch those videos that he sent me tonight, and then I will share them to the WhatsApp group though. Once I get them, it's just a couple of them. I was too busy watching the other ones. I love dogs, Mermaid. I really do. I mean, I had dogs my whole life until I left Florida. But now, I mean, I live in a condo. Yeah, absolutely, sweet dreams, Paul. I double that. Um, Now that I live in a condo, it would just be unfair for me because it'll be unfair to the dog and to me because, like I said, I'm not gonna be out there walking them 2, 3 times a day and picking up their poop in the yard. And we got the stairs here are higher than it's weird because the way they built this condo, a regular standard flight of stairs is 15 risings and from one floor to the next, it should be 15 steps. They shortened this in order to accommodate the space or whatever, I guess. Our stairs are, it's only 13 steps in our stairs. So they're significantly like an inch and a half to 2 inches higher than the average stair. That would be even harder on a dog. And I don't want a large dog in this confined space. It would make it dangerous for a small dog. I'd have to have a cat in this space. So yeah, unless or until I get now. Once I got my little place, well, I'm speaking it into existence. Like I said, once I actually got my spot out in Ghana on the beach by the what? Yeah, then of course I'll have a dog. I don't have a problem. I might even still do a cat then. I don't know, but my son has a dog in Okinawa. They got a Doberman. Yeah. Oh heck no. Nope, 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 nope. No birds. I'm traumatized by birds. Now, truthfully, I done had birds around me my whole life, but my mother always had minor birds, and I hated that bird. She had two of them while I was growing up in the house. Nah, that wasn't no beautiful sound. They would always be telling me, "Come back here, Tootie. Stop that, Tootie. How are you?" Just squawking and picking and hollering at me. No, I'm good. Nope. Plus, they fling their food and their poop stinks. I'm good. I'm sorry. Not no. In my older age, I ain't gonna say old because I'm not old, but in my older age, I just really don't want to be taking care of long term animals like that. Like people could go and have monkeys and stuff. I used to, I like, in theory, I like the idea of having a monkey, but I raised four children, and I'm not comparing my children to monkeys. But I went through diapering and toilet training with four children. Why would I sign on to change diapers voluntarily for the rest of my natural life? Because monkeys live a long time. So if I get a monkey, there's a good chance they might outlive me. And I'm gonna have to like look, in 30 years, I'm gonna be wondering who's gonna change my damn diaper. Why in the world would I go and have an animal and I'm gonna have to change diapers forever? Johnny, shut up and go on about your business. See, you just on some foolishness. That's just rude. You got diarrhea at the mouth and you worry about my farting? Really? First off, I didn't, but even if I did, you're here spewing, or you got diarrhea at a keyboard. You had parakeets? Oh, Lord. They didn't ever stink. The mess was minimal. A little box stinks more. Oof, dang, you gave him the big time out. The little box thinks more and more time consuming. Yeah. Well, back in the day, I guess they didn't know better. My mom, I forgot what they. I mean, they fed him fresh fruits and stuff, but she didn't know. I guess that what their understanding at the time, there was a small, like a small kibble type dog food that they fed him, and his poop stunk. At first, when we had when I was little, his name was Sonny, and then when Sonny passed, we had another one named Billy, and both of them just they didn't like me. They didn't even really do well outside their cages. She would clip one of their wings so they could go out, but they yeah, and they didn't do a whole lot of interacting. I'd hold them sometimes, and I just yeah, birds just wasn't really my thing. And again, parrots are beautiful, but again, I don't really want an animal that could potentially outlive me. No. Can you? But legally, you can't keep a crow or a raven, can you? I didn't think you could. I thought you have to surrender them to like a rescue or something if you get one. I mean, a rescue center. You had Sunny and Sky. Awesome. I don't know why I thought it was illegal to keep a crow or a raven. Oh, you are? Okay, well, that's true. At this point in the game, I'm looking forward to traveling so much that I probably won't have any more pets until I really, really get to where I'm not going to be traveling. I'm really going to be in one spot for a long time because if I'm jumping back and forth between countries, that's really not fair to an animal either to have to continuously do quarantines back and forth. Oh, I remember Beretta. That's one of the shows I didn't watch a whole lot of, but I do remember it. Oh, okay, so I didn't know the parrot's name, but yeah, you said Chico was the parrot's name. That's what's up. Mm-mm. Mermaid, no. I don't have anybody that would. The only people I still have connected to my life from my former life are my children, the roommate I live with, and my boyfriend. That's it. None. There's nobody I can call or just gonna call and ask me, "Hey, how you doing?" None of the rest, none of that. Once in a blue moon, maybe once or twice a year, my mentor will text or call me, and I have one other friend in Virginia that may text me like once or twice a year, and that's about it. So I couldn't expect that if something happened to me, that any of them would. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, my daughter and her wife have cats. Um, my son, the one who's here, the one in Florida, he's not here, but he's in Florida. He's not a pet type dude anyway. He's got two kids, but he's really not into pets. He's a fisherman. That's his thing. And then the other one is in Japan, and he's already got a pet. So yeah, there's nobody that will take him. Yeah. It's all good because, like I said, I got my first dog when I was like 10 months old. Actually, my first dog I got when I was 18 months old because I do remember that it was a party poodle, a little black and white party poodle named Fancy, and then later on she had an all black poodle with white socks that we named Boots, and those were my first two pets. But I have had dozens of dogs over the years because we lived on 3 acres. We were out in the country, da 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 da, and I had dogs in the house, dogs out of the house, all of that. So it's not something that I have to have. I've had enough pets that I'm cool with it. And like I said, I've had enough to know that I just really don't care to do that level of care for them at this point. So call me selfish if you want to, but I know I don't. If I needed that comfort from a being or an animal, then yeah, I would. But I'm good. I don't need it. You see, your dogs are so sweet and well behaved. They know you're hurt and you just give you extra love and snuggles. Yeah. Oh, animals are great. They really, really are. That's why I said, if anything, I would probably get a cat. But if I'm gonna be traveling all over the place, which is where my focus is now, like getting my money right and doing all this and that, and as soon as I have the money and the ability to get my health together and all of that, I'm gonna be traveling so much that it would be unfair for me to have an animal that's just gonna sit somewhere missing me and pining for me to come back. I wouldn't even do that to him. Do I think the Anunnaki ascended? Uh, ascended to where? No, most of them no. I think some of them, about half of them, went back home. I think the others, the 30 and 2, are still with the dweller in their Aguanti in the halls of Amenti or wherever they're at on behind the ice wall, wherever they're at here on the earth that they couldn't, because remember, some of them went home, some of them couldn't go home. Um, Thoth ascended, but chose to remain amongst us for a time. So he's probably still hanging out with Yeshua if he isn't Yeshua. And I am of the firm belief that he is Yeshua. Um, so he ascended, but he didn't continue on throughout the cosmos. He continued to stay here. He asked for permission to stay with the children of men to aid our ascension. Our ascension, yeah. So he ascended. That's one of the Anunnaki who ascended, and of course Enki ascended. But of that whole crew, think about it. Even before it became an issue of Yahweh versus Yeshua and the biblical story and all that, if you just read the way they were behaving before they got here and the way that they behaved shortly after they got here and all of that, they were not spiritually focused. It was Enki and Thoth that were spiritually focused. All the Anunnaki were not focused that way. So all the Anunnaki would not have ascended. You say you channel thoughts with someone once? Cool. Got a cat. You got two dogs and a cat, a Chihuahua, a mixed American Bully, no clue, a regular mixed cat. No, I mean, if you ain't going nowhere, why not have pets? I'm not judging anybody that choose to have them, don't choose to have them, whatever the case may be. Like I said, I'm just honest enough with myself to know I don't want the responsibility or the expense or the hassle or the work of maintaining pets. I've had, like I said, I've had dozens of pets in my lifetime. I just don't want to crawl into that now. But anybody that wants to do it, more power to them. I don't judge anybody for having pets, not having pets, whatever feels good to them. Now, I do have an issue with people that just flat out don't like animals. Somebody that don't like animals, I probably don't have very much in common with them. I think that's kind of weird for somebody to say they don't. And I have met a few. I've had a few supposed friends that absolutely did not like animals, and we absolutely did not wind up being friends for all that long either. But I also remember I have a surprising amount of interactions with animals, even though I don't have any pets. Every time I go sit outside on the patio, I have an interaction with a wild animal in one way or another. Either a bird gonna come by and chill and chirp with me, hummingbird over hovering by my head, chipmunks playing out there on the patio, running across my feet. Something. I have interactions with animals to let me know they haven't forgotten me and I haven't forgotten them. Yeah, I don't know why she said she was horrible because ain't nothing wrong with having two dogs and a cat. That's not even that many animals. I mean, at once upon a time, now thankfully, I was, like I said, I was living on 3 acres and they were mostly yard dogs. But at one point in time, I had 22 dogs on our yard. Like, that was a lot. And it was crazy because I think I had 8 adult dogs, and then within like few days of each other, I had two females that littered. One had 6 and one had 8. I had one dog one time had like 12 puppies. I'm like, good God. And somebody stole the whole litter. They were some kind of little mixed breeds, but they looked like collies, but they were heavier boned than collies. They were big old beautiful fluff balls, and the entire litter disappeared overnight. But yeah, we had many, 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 many dogs. Oh yeah, and if you got it like that, that's cool. But that's why I say I know my kids, and I know I can't. Yeah, I'm not even gonna because what I'm claiming and manifesting and all the rest of that is to be traveling hopefully within the next 6 to 12 months. So there will be no point in me getting a pet at this point. Yeah, I don't trust people that dislike animals either. Yeah, exactly, King David. I've had enough that I understood the love of an animal. I've had enough that I understood the responsibility of caring for them. I've understood the life cycle and I learned to adjust to the grief of losing them. It's enough. I don't need no more. I would probably, like I said, my stepchildren, when we get to that point, they're still young, so I probably will have another couple of animals just so that they could have that responsibility. I think every child should have a pet at least once or twice. It does teach you something about life, even sadly, if they have to learn how to say goodbye and deal with the life cycle ending. I think that that's still an important part of every child's development that they should have a pet. Um, but other than that, yeah, no, I'm good. You gonna have a cat DNA check for what? Ooh, child boo. Ain't honestly ain't no need to have a cat's DNA checked unless you plan on breeding them and want a certificate of all. of pure breed, whatever, whatever. People can't. The fact that your mutts need love too. Let's just put it that way. Most of us are mutts, and most of our animals are mutts. That whole breed thing is just a bougie thing that people did to make money. You don't have to have no cat's DNA check. No. Yeah, and I get that part. That's why I say I kind of sort of wouldn't mind a cat at this point, mermaid. But I mean, every now and then I can holler up there and say hey to my roommate, so I'm not totally alone. I'll be all right. uh, but again, I wonder sometimes about myself. I done been through so much stuff in my lifetime that as I walked back through my traumas and the events of my life and the this and the that, I realize to some degree it's such a dichotomy too because I care so much for people in the abstract, but I had to learn to become somewhat detached in the immediate. So I don't even know how that works. I know that sounds weird for me to say that, but I just I've had to be so I had in order to keep from feeling bad or folding in myself or whatever because so many people backed away from my life and I was left alone, alone, alone. Even to some degree with my children, I had to learn to be okay with being alone. It's all good. And again, that may seem cold to some people, but it was what I needed to do for self-preservation. And it's okay. I love people, but I understand I have to love most people from afar. Your furries find you. That's what's up. That's how most of my dogs found me. We never bought dogs except when the first dog I had, the poodles. My cousins here in Atlanta, and that's crazy. I could say my cousins here in Atlanta because they still live in Atlanta to this day, and I don't have no contact with them now. But at the time, my mother was still in connection with them, and they bred poodles at that time. So that's where we got the first dog from. And then one of my dogs was an Irish setter that had been my brother's dog. And when my brother died, we wound up going and getting his dog. His roommate couldn't keep him, so we wound up with the dog. And he lived until he was 14, 13 and a half, almost 14, which is pretty decent lifespan for an Irish setter. Um, and then, truthfully, that dog kind of sort of grieved himself to death, though. He was somewhat happy moving with us, but he didn't last a whole long time after my brother passed. But other than that, it was usually people dumping dog. We lived on a dirt road in the country, and people like to drop dogs off. You know how that goes. So we kind of had our own little dog rescue going over there on our street. Yeah. But I wound up with an interesting set of dogs. I had an English Walker at one point, and um, German Shepherd. I had a well, actually, I wound up with one that was a he was a boxer mix, but I think that dog was a boxer. I don't even know how it happened, but he had all of the markings of a boxer, but he was as long and leggy and tall as a Great Dane. That dog could literally stand on his hind legs and put his paws on my shoulders and lick me right in my face. But he had all of the markings of a boxer. Yeah, he was gorgeous. He was just willful as hell. He had been that dog. I named him Buster, or he actually I got him. He was named Buster. I didn't name him that. Um, but my twins' uncle had him, and I felt so sorry for the dog. The uncle got him from somebody that he knew. I guess he was a mechanic friend of his or whatever. I don't know the complete backstory of the dog, But that dog had been chained to a tree from birth, and he was almost 3 when I got him. And my heart did, because I would go over there and visit them, and he was always chained to the tree, looking crazy. They never let him off that lead, and it wasn't a running lead. He was just chained to the tree. And eventually, he wound up letting me have the dog, and it took me a while to get him in the house. We had a chain link fence around our property, so I put like a 20-foot lead kitty corner across the corners so that he would have like the whole run of a corner part of the front yard at first, to get him used to not just being chained to a tree all the time, because they were going to put him down. That's the reason I wound up taking him. They were going to go have him put down, and I took him and got him used to being in the yard, and then I let him in the house, and he became super protective of the kids. Well, actually, that's not true. He was super protective of me, but he hated men, and I knew then that somebody had done something to that dog. And I mean, when I say he hated men, when my brother-in-law came by the house to pick up his mail, he almost ripped my shoulder out the socket, going straight for my brother-in-law's throat. And my brother-in-law had never seen this dog. He just hated men that much. That let me know that somewhere down the line a man had really, really hurt that dog, like big time hurt that dog, and then tied him to a tree for 3 years afterwards. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 we're not doing that. Yeah, but he was a hot mess. He was one of the big old, he looked like Marmaduke laying on the bed. He thought he was little. His big self would get up on my bed and hog up the whole bed. Uh-oh, you said you got a tie now? Well, the third Donatello came up there, I thought. So it was like 2 Raphaels and 3 Donatellos. Did I miss something else? Don't they though? They big dog. They had little, and the little dogs always have big dog syndrome. You like Michelangelo? Well, Michelangelo it is. Then that's the only one that only got one. So I guess it's Michelangelo, mermaid. Yeah. That's the reason you like Michelangelo, because he was Gnostic. Okay. But yeah, I've always thought that was weird. The big dogs always think they're small, and the little dogs always swear they big. Yeah, you had 3 Donatellos, 2 Raphaels, and then you got a Michelangelo. So however you choose to, if you want to go with Michelangelo or Donatello, either way, it'll work. No, it's not 3, because the third vote would be for Michelangelo. So if you wanted to break a tie, Michelangelo is completely different. There was only one vote for Michelangelo. So truthfully, it would come out like a dark horse and be the one that would edge them all out, I guess. But either way, make up your mind, girl. Or at this point, you could just go for the one that wasn't chosen. Yeah, honestly. And I had another at the same time. I had that dog named that was Buster, and then we had one called Big Boy. The twins' daddy brought Big Boy over to the house supposedly as a gift for the boys. Now he didn't ask my permission. He just popped up at the house one day with this dog. And of course, I was put on the spot, so I really couldn't say no. And it was a little dachshund. And I honestly don't really like dachshunds that much because it just looked weird. And he was a little bit top heavy. But Big Boy, from day one, he really didn't like my boys. He decided that he was mine and I was his. And he ran the house, including Buster. He had big dog syndrome for real. He was the head dude in charge, and that was that. Oh wow, she's sweet. Don't like dislike anyone. Yeah, yeah. Well, Buster definitely did not like females. I mean, didn't like males. I'm sorry. Like I said, he tolerated my boys okay, but grown men, oh no, 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 no grown men at all. I'd have to keep him locked up if anybody. Fortunately, I didn't have many men coming by my house, but yeah, whether it was mailman, delivery man, my brother, he did not like men. Period. He said her hips are in bad shape. Yeah, Pitts do have problems with hips dysplasias and stuff. Do you have her on like um glucosamine or glucosamine chondroitin or anything or MSM? Uh-oh, excuse me. Trying to see if I missed something here. She takes multivitamin. Yeah, glucosamine chondroitin might help her, as well as look into hyaluronic acid for her because it might help with the synovial fluid. I mean, it helps humans with synovial fluid in their joints. So with the dysplasia, there might be some other supplements that could help her with that. Put on some cannabis, she'll feel better anyway. Well, if it's legal where you live, I don't know. Well, get some CBD, even if it isn't, you can have that. Can dogs have turmeric? I didn't even think about that. That might help her. Something you could put in her food if they can have it. I'm not even, like I said, I ain't had pets in so long. I'm not even sure if they can have turmeric, but I know they can have glucosamine chondroitin, but I don't know if they can have turmeric or hyaluronic acid. But that might be something cheap that you could just put in her food each day. You're gonna foster, get her trained and vetted and rehome her, but once you find out you were the fourth home in 6 months, oh, yeah, I don't blame you. I'd have kept her too. That's got to be kind of scary for them. Just keep getting bounced around. Yeah, Natalie, I would look into it just to see. Like I said, I haven't had pets in so long, so I'm not sure if they can have it or not. I know they do, dogs do well on cannabis and CBD. I know that they can do glucosamine and chondroitin, but I don't know about turmeric or hyaluronic acid. Oh, y'all, it is 10:10. I'm getting ready to bounce out of here. It has been lovely speaking to y'all tonight. So I am going to get myself geared up for tomorrow. I will try to come on. Y'all, somebody had said earlier in the day for tarot on Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. What time works for y'all for tarot? You brought her girly toys and threw them in her direction and she flinched and she hid in her crate. Ooh. Yeah, somebody might have been a little bit harsh with her. Yeah, she'll get comfortable being there though. And that's another thing. Now that, like I said, dogs are starting to succumb so much to the poisons and the synthetic foods and the GMOs and the grains and all that. They get the same kind of diseases that we get. I ain't even got the funding right now to be talking about dealing with an animal because one vet bill will put me all the way out the game. So yeah, I bless everybody that can do it, but yeah, that ain't me at this moment. But in any event, y'all, thank you, thank you, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I love you. Oh, I forgot. I did ask what time works for y'all as far as tarot because somebody had asked me to come in earlier during the day for tarot, so I'm gonna give it a shot. What works for y'all? I'm not gonna do them super early mornings because somebody was saying for me to do that as far as getting like paid clients, but I'm not gonna get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to pull tarot. But yeah. Oh, you're welcome, y'all. I was just waiting here to see if anybody had any notions, but truthfully, I think we're down to most of the regular folk now, so I guess that doesn't they're not responding like that. I'll probably be on in the evening then, like normal. I may try to come in at 6 or something to see if that'll help some of them as far as the earlier. But in any event, like I say, in between time, in the meantime, yeah, tarot is tomorrow. I had been, well, the 11 o'clock, I wasn't getting that big of a turnout anyway at 11. So I was going to try to push everything to the evenings and just do like alternating evenings, one night on here, one night on there, one night on the evening is best. Okay, then we'll keep it on the evenings, and I'll see y'all at 7 p.m. tomorrow on Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. In the meantime, in between time, until next time, have a great evening, the rest of the evening for y'all. Take care. I love you. Namaste.